South African girls, do me a quick favor. Unless it's urgent, ne? Try not to marry a broke black man without ambition. Because you will suffer. And we are not here to suffer. Please, I beg. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today's video, I want to talk about Owamie Zaulu, or Owamie Hlongwane, as she was previously known. For people who don't know, Owamie is a very popular South African YouTuber. She's one of the late greats. Okay, maybe not late greats, but she's one of the originals. One of the original gangsters, one of the very first people to start YouTube in South Africa. And today she's very successful. Owamie started in around 2013-14, or maybe 2015. And she started at a time when I wanted to start YouTube myself. But I was too, I was too self-conscious about it, and I was too apprehensive. I used to think, oh, if I start YouTube now, who's gonna listen? Who's gonna watch my videos? Do South Africans even watch YouTube? Do South Africans even have data? Like, I had such serious limiting beliefs. And Owamie started YouTube back then with a very rudimentary entry-level smartphone, and today she's one of the most successful YouTubers in South Africa. And it's great to see a dark-skinned, plump black woman succeed the way that she is. So today I want to talk about her divorce. She's had a very ugly divorce. She's had a very public divorce. Some of you guys, some of the Nunjus or ninjas have said that her divorce has been public because she publicized it. I agree, she publicized it, but I think that it was a good move for her to publicize it because she publicized the good times. She showed us when things were good between her and her ex-husband. It's only fair for her to show us when things are bad and for us to learn some things from her divorce. So today I want to talk about some things that we can learn from Owamie Hlongwane or Owamie Zaulu's divorce. Let's talk about them.
Society protects women that stay with abusive husbands so much that they shun women that decides that they're going to go through a divorce. And that is the reason why sometimes divorce can be so lonely. It can be so lonely. It can be so difficult. It can be so emotionally draining.
So the first lesson we derive from the statement that Owamie just made. As a society, as black people, as a society, as a group, we need to stop expecting black women to get married quickly. We really do. And we need to stop blaming black women for having left their marriages and having not begezelad enough. When I think back to situations where my friends and my families have gone through divorces, a lot of the time there are murmurs or whispers that, oh my gosh, could this woman not put up with the husband's infidelity any longer? Like, people blame the woman. People go to the woman and they're like, but then can't you overlook your husband's infidelity? Can't you overlook the fact that your husband's got 2 kids outside your marriage? Can't you overlook his mistress and pretend like that person doesn't exist? Can't you overlook the fact that your husband is broke and he's spending your money to finance his lifestyle? Like, a lot of the time, society expects black women to look away, to overlook, and to put up with a lot to make marriages work. And if marriages don't work, a lot of the time they blame the black woman for not having had enough, for not having been resilient enough, for not having been patient enough to watch this man grow into, to watch this boy in a man's body grow into a man. And it's unfortunate. And something else that we don't talk about is the fact that a lot of the time, single black women are blamed for being single and unmarried. As soon as you're 25 and above and you're unmarried, society looks at you like you're the one with the problem. Society looks at you like you're the sociopath or the psychopath, or you're the one who's so socially unadjusted that you couldn't get or you couldn't talk someone into marrying you, or you couldn't get the right muti for you to put someone in a trance long enough for them to marry you. When in actual fact, the caliber of men that we have to choose from as black women is dismal. If there's a rich black man in black society, you better know that he's got girlfriends and boyfriends. And all of you are doing the sexy time with him. Firstly, if you've got a broke man in South Africa, you better know that he's going to have a low self-esteem. So you can't shine too brightly, or else you're going to dim his light. Do you understand? Sometimes if you do have a broke man, or a man who doesn't hit you, a man who doesn't abuse you financially, he'll be the kind of man that stays home with you. He won't hit you. He'll even be a house husband. But you better know that you are going to be the woman that runs that family financially. And as soon as you make life comfortable enough for him, he's going to go find a mistress. And together, they will spend your money. So as a society, as Black people, we definitely need to stop putting the responsibility of making marriages work on the shoulders of Black women, because we need a strong patriarchy. And by a strong patriarchy, I don't mean a patriarchy for the sake of patriarchy, because a lot of the time Black men want to be respected just because they're alive and just because they've got hanging balls. That's it. We need a strong patriarchy. We need men who will lead because they want to be men, and they want to lead, and they take pride in leading their families. Not men who lead because, as an extension of leading you, they can abuse you. So first lesson, stop making Black women responsible for making marriages work. What are your sons doing? What are your uncles doing? What are your brothers doing to make their marriages work? Other than going to a Chisanyama every weekend and spending money on girls at the Chisanyama. God damn it. Whew. I just made myself angry. Damn it.
I was married to a man that legit was very jealous. He never wanted me out. Like, I remember there was a time that when I was still in Free State, even I wanted to rent an office space so that I can have an office, because remember, I didn't have an office in Free State. The guest bedroom had a bed and everything. And I remember I went to this office place and I spoke to the doctor that was renting the whole building, and he had a room that was big. It was a big place, so he had space for me. Mind you, this doctor is old, and the price there honestly was like very cheap. So I was like, this is something that I can do, and you know, this is for me to further my career. Obviously, if I have an office space, it's gonna work better. And I remember him saying, no, I don't think that's a good idea, which is why we even ended up moving the dining room table to the middle of the kitchen, which obviously left small space, and I had to use the dining area as the background, and office working area, because I would sacrifice me for him.
The second lesson we should learn here is to never, ever go too far with a jealous partner. And I don't just mean jealous in the sense that, oh, he doesn't like seeing me talking to other men, or oh, when I get certain phone calls, he gets uncomfortable, or he doesn't like me going to my parents' house without him. He doesn't like me going to the mall without him. Not just that kind of jealousy, but the kind of jealousy that comes from a man who doesn't want to see you succeed. A man who doesn't want to see you having more than him. As soon as you realize that kind of trait in a partner that you have, walk away. Because a well-adjusted human being, a human being who understands that you and your partner are supposed to help each other, you and your partner complement each other, that kind of partner will understand that sometimes your wife does have a little more than you, and that doesn't make you less of a man, and that shouldn't stop you as a man from continuing to work. But if you have a partner that says to you, don't go to work, or a partner that says to you, don't get that office space, don't improve your career in such and such a way, walk away. As you can see from this clip that I just played, Owamie's ex-husband was starting to tell her, and it's her words, not mine. Owamie's ex-husband told her that, listen, don't take that office space that is going to help you to elevate your business game. Don't take that office space. Rather work from home where I can control you, where I can see what you're doing. As soon as you get into a relationship with someone like that, or as soon as you see that kind of trait from your partner, walk away. Because someone who does not want the best for you, someone who does not want to see you improve, is someone that really doesn't love you. Because if you've got a partner who's well adjusted, they will understand that your improvement is their improvement. Your success is their success. More so if you're married. So if you ever find yourself with a partner like that, a partner that shows the traits that Owamie was talking about in this clip, walk away. Do yourself a favor. Walk away. Because you are always going to live in that man's shadow. You're always going to look around yourself and try as hard as you can to not be as successful as you can, because your success is going to piss him off. Learn from this situation, guys. Third lesson here, Bogel. The third lesson here. I know I'm going to be very unpopular for this, but it doesn't matter how wonderful the relationship might be going. It doesn't matter if you meet the love of your life in high school or first year of varsity. As a woman, never skip the step of living alone. Never skip the step of being independent and knowing that you can solve your own problems and knowing that you can stand on your own 2 feet if you need to. A lot of the time, what I've heard from Owamie through her divorce is the fact that she was so codependent on her ex-husband. She was so codependent on her ex-husband, it was actually dangerous for her and her own progress. And it actually got to a point where she was making this man her own little demigod. And you know, God is a jealous God. He won't allow you to share him with anybody. So sometimes that's why these people leave our lives, because God is a jealous God. And he won't let you share him with anybody. God won't share his throne. So one of the mistakes that I saw Owamie do is the fact that she was so codependent on her husband. There's a video she did some years ago, maybe it was last year, and she said that there was a time when she had to take a bus, or she had to travel by bus to go home to Venda by herself. She says that when the bus, her husband drove her to the bus stop, and when the bus left, she had an immediate panic attack because she was now being separated from this person that she's with all of the time. An immediate panic attack. Guys, do not skip the stage of living alone. Even if it's a year minimum, guys. If you're fortunate, it'll be 2 years, but you need to live by yourself for you to know that you can depend on yourself. You can solve your own problems, and most importantly, that you can depend on God. The solitude that comes from being by yourself in the house with your thoughts, you can't do anything but lean on God or your ancestors or whatever it is that you believe in. So never skip that step. I had the fortune, I used to think it was a misfortune, but I had the good luck of being in a season of singleness for a very long time. And I had a Freudian slip there because I almost said loneliness. But I used to think my season of singleness was loneliness. But when I look back on it now, that season that I had was such a gift for me. Because if there's anything that I know, is that I can depend on myself. I know damn well that I can solve my own issues. I know very well that I can wake up at 3 a.m. and drive somewhere, drive myself to hospital if I have to, because there was a point where I was all that I had. My family was 4 hours away from me. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have a fiancé. I was all by myself. And at that time, I had nobody but God and me and my ancestors. And those are some of the very best years of my life. I wish that when I was in that season, I would have known that that season would be one of the very best years of my life. That would make me the kind of person, the kind of woman that I am today. I'm very proud of the woman that I am today, because the woman that I am today is able to be a very good partner to my partner and a very good mother to my kids. So never skip the step of being alone. And also watch out for patterns of being codependent, guys. In this video that I'm quoting, that I'm quoting from Owamie, she put it up last week. Go watch it on her channel if you want. She seems to have replaced her ex-husband with Ulebu. She keeps telling us about a very good friend that she has who is Lebu, and I'm glad for her that she had someone to stand by her when she was going through the difficult divorce. But it seems to me like she's replaced one person with another person. And now that the fog has cleared and she's about to sign her divorce papers, she needs to also pull away from using other people as crutches and be her own crutch. Guys, never ever skip the step of being by yourself. Even if you love your person, even if you feel like you guys are star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, it's fine. Be engaged while you guys visit each other, even if it's just a minimum of a year. You guys can be engaged, be in love, and plan a wedding while you guys live apart from each other. And then the second year, go live together. It's fine, but you need to go through a point where you know that you've got your own back, so that even if that man of yours tries to take your financial independence away from you and your emotional independence away from you, you can revert back to the person that you were, who could depend on herself.
People don't understand how much wives sacrifice, and it's so sad. You know, just to give an example, I met this man, you guys, I had no debt. I took a loan and closed his debts. And years later, he came online to mock me and claim I'm blacklisted, I'm this and this, for his debts.
Guys, the fourth lesson. It doesn't matter how wonderful your partner might be. It doesn't matter how much of a smooth talker your boyfriend might be. It doesn't matter how good that man might lay down the pipe. Don't you ever open up your purse or your wallet and say that you're going to pay for a man's debt. More especially if that man is your boyfriend. Don't you do it. We can tell from Owamie's clip that she did it, and how did it work out for her? Let Owamie's situation be a cautionary tale for you ladies. Don't you ever pay for a man's debt, more especially if that man is just a boyfriend. If we're talking about a husband, now we're talking about something different. Because if you guys do have to divorce, then you'll have to share your stuff with him and he'll share his with you. In that way, you could possibly make your money back. But if it's just a boyfriend and you're trying to pay a boyfriend's debt off, that is just as good as you taking your money and throwing it down the toilet. Because one thing that man is going to do is embarrass you. Because if there's one thing that black men can do, is embarrass you. So don't do it. If you've got time, if you ever have the time in your schedule, do not ever open your purse to pay for a boyfriend's debt. Because if there's one thing that those people will do, is embarrass you. Later on in life, that very same boyfriend whose Foshini account you paid, he will go around telling people that you were so desperate for love that you were willing to pay off his debts. Mark my words, guys. Let Owamie's situation be a cautionary tale for you. Please. The fifth lesson here, guys. It doesn't matter how excited you might be. Once again, I'm going to say it. It doesn't matter how excited you might be at the idea of being in love. It doesn't matter just how nice your boyfriend might be to you. It doesn't matter just how sincere your fiance might look to you. Don't you ever pay for your own lobola, guys. Don't you ever pay for your own lobola, because I feel like some of the disrespect that Owamie is going through is because she helped that man pay for her lobola. If you pay for your own lobola, it's basically you paying for yourself. You are marrying yourself. Sometime last year, Owamie posted a very explosive video on her channel, and she told us that she paid for her own lobola. And by paid for her own lobola, she meant that she borrowed her then fiance money for him to travel to Venda, to her home, to her parents' home, and to pay for her lobola. So that money that she borrowed him included the transport fare, it included the money that you must pay for the cows, and he was doing all of this in her car. He was driving to Venda in her car. Guys, I beg you, it doesn't matter how difficult things might be for your partner at a particular time, and he says to you, listen, I really want to marry you, borrow me 20,000 for me to marry you. Don't do it. Because one day when he's got the money, when he's got the 20,000, he's going to look at you like you're a sorry somebody, because he's going to sit there and say, oh wow, so this bitch over here was so desperate to be married that she was willing to pay for her own lobola. And that very man that you were trying to make a plan for, that you were trying to support and stand by, that man is going to turn around and remind you how desperate you were to be married. that you were willing to borrow him money to marry you. And I'm not saying that Owamie's husband or Owamie's ex reminded her that she borrowed him money, but I'm just saying the likelihood is that a man will disrespect you more once he has money because you were willing to stand by him long enough to even borrow him money to marry you. Guys, don't do it. Because if a man has paid money for you, if a man has paid cows for you, it will be very difficult for him to leave you, because he will know that one cow is 8,000 and he's paid 10 cows. He will remember, he will look back to the amount of cows that he paid, and he will make it a point that he makes it work. But if you're the one who paid his own cows, if you're the one who paid your own cows, leaving you is nothing but a chicken wing, baby. It's nothing but a thing, baby. So watch out, guys. It doesn't matter how desperate you might be. It doesn't matter how close you might be to 35. It doesn't matter how much all of your friends are married and all of your cousins are married. Rather be the unmarried one than have you be the one to open up your own savings and give your man money for him to run around and buy cows that he will marry you with, because that's you marrying yourself. And that is terrible luck, because already you are starting your marriage off on the wrong foot. Word to the wise. If you've got ears, listen. The sixth and final lesson here, guys. If you can, don't marry a man without ambition. If you've got time, guys, if you've got time and you've got the stamina for it, try not to marry a man without ambition. And this is what I mean by that. Many times in the videos that Owamie's done, she's told us, even when she was on SABC2 last year, she told us that her husband, or her ex-husband right now, wanted them to revert back to the life that they lived before Owamie started being successful, because they used to live in a back room. Their life was very simple, and Owamie told us that when she met him, she used to sell meat by the side of the road. So you can tell that these people come from very humble beginnings, and obviously he felt more independent. Not independent. He felt more in control and more in power when they were coming from humble beginnings, because Owamie was selling meat on the side of the road. I don't know what he was doing, but I'm assuming that he must have been the one with more power financially. And now, fast forward to a time where Owamie is now successful. Owamie, the hard work that Owamie is putting in is trying to show itself now. And instead of being happy for Owamie, and instead of him sitting down and thinking, oh, how can I leverage off of my wife's success? How can I help her be more successful? How can I use my talents to help my wife be more successful? Instead of doing that, he goes to Facebook and he starts flirting with different women. Instead of doing that. So that for me is a man without ambition. Guys, if you ever have time, do not marry a man without ambition. You see, a broke man with ambition is one thing, because he will open a car wash, and you know what, if he's got the khutbah, he can turn that car wash into a franchise. A broke man with ambition can do a lot, because he's not shy, he's not afraid to get up and go for this thing that he's hungry for. But if you marry a man without ambition, that man is going to bring you down at every turn, because ambition scares him. This man that Owamie was married to had he was scared, he was frightened by the level of ambition that Owamie has. Instead of him looking at Owamie and Owamie's ambition and being turned on and being, having her ambition feed his fire, it made him afraid. Instead of getting up from his ass and going out there and bettering his skills and his career, he went onto Facebook. So says Owamie, because he was flirting with women on Facebook. That's what she says in her videos. He went and flirted with more women instead of him bettering himself. Guys, that is embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. So if you've got time, guys, don't you ever marry a man without ambition. Don't do it, because you will go hungry. You will go hungry and you will become depressed very quickly. Those are the 6 lessons, guys, that I think we can learn from Owamie and her divorce. A lot of you guys have been, or some people have been saying that, no, Owamie is doing too much. Why is she putting a divorce on a public platform? But I think that it was really important for her to put her divorce on a public platform and for her to tell us what her lessons were, and for her to bear the truth of what her marriage was like, so that a lot of people can learn. Because when they were still having a good time, when the marriage was still good, it looked like they were perfect. And a lot of people were judging their relationships and their marriages against what Owamie had. It's very good to look at them now and to realize that these people are just human. And at the time, they were still just human, and they had their mistakes and they had their issues. These are very valuable lessons, guys, that we can learn. But at the end of the day, please, if you've got time and if you can help it, don't marry a broke black man.